In today's fast-paced world, we praise the idea of being fully focused and attentive towards a task or trying to solve a problem. And if in the process our mind starts to wander away, we usually consider that as a distraction. What if I tell you that the greatest minds of our history and their breakthroughs were often created in this space of being away from the actual problem? Today, we are going to look at the concept of mind wandering and how we can use this to improve our creativity. Mind wandering, or what it's most commonly known as daydreaming, is a very common thing, and we have all experienced it. Remember the time when you were heads down working on a problem, trying to find a solution or trying to get things done, and suddenly you start thinking of some random thoughts. Maybe you start thinking of a really good conversation that you had a few hours earlier, or what you had for breakfast this morning. This is what's called mind wandering and is often seen as something negative or a distraction because it's keeping you away from completing your work. It's definitely one way of looking at it, but there have been significant research done to understand the role of mind wandering, in which it divides into two kinds. One being spontaneous mind wandering and the other being deliberate mind wandering. Now, what we've all experienced is called spontaneous mind wandering, where our mind is not fully focused and come up with random thoughts, but we are being unintentional about it. Whereas in deliberate mind wandering, our mind is still not fully focused, but at least we are being intentional about it. And when we are being intentional or mindful about our mind wandering, this is when we can use it as a powerful tool to enhance our creativity. Ronald Finke proposed the Geneplore model of creative thinking. The model suggests that any creative process can be divided into two phases, the generative phase and the explorative phase. Now, in the generative phase, we are engaged in the divergent thinking mode of our minds, where we look at a problem from different angles and perspectives and come up with a ton of solutions to the challenge that we're solving. In the explorative phase, we start looking at all those ideas that we have created in the generative phase and start evaluating those and select the ones that can really help solve our challenge and our problems. Working through both these processes and jumping from one phase to another is where we can use the tool of mindful mind wandering to help us grow our creativity. When in the phase of generation of ideas, we can allow our minds to wander intentionally and think divergently to come up with a ton of solutions. We can let our minds think of our lives' experiences, the conversations that we've had, our observations, our surroundings, anything that we can use to help us come up with great ideas. But not knowing when to bring our minds and focus back can be harmful towards our creativity. Research has shown that letting our minds wander, drift away in random thoughts, can actually cause problems in maintaining focus and attention, and also be the reason for mental stress and hurting our overall creative output. This is where intentional and mindful mind wandering is extremely beneficial towards our creativity. When we are involved in the generative phase of our creative process, mind wandering is perfect because it allows us to come up with multiple solutions to our challenge, to our problem. But we should be mindful and intentional about bringing our focus and our mind back to the problem that we're working on and really start looking at the ideas that we have generated and start evaluating those to select the ones that can really help solve our problems. Building this balance between when to allow our minds to wander and when to bring our focus back is extremely beneficial towards growing our creative output. When you're intentional about your minds drifting away in random thoughts, it's not really random because you want your minds to diverge and think of the problem from different scenarios and different perspectives. I'm pretty sure you have been in a situation where you're heads down working on a project or a problem and trying to figure out a solution for it. If nothing happens, you decide to take a break, go for a coffee, go for a walk, and as soon as you come back, you find yourself with some interesting ideas and insights. The reason this is happening is because you're intentionally allowing your minds to step away from the problem and giving your mind the time, the space, and the rest to process all the information that you have captured in order to help you come up with those great ideas and help you create those unique connections that can solve your problem. Albert Einstein was known to take short breaks during the problems that he was working on, and he used to spend time playing violin. Now, this is a perfect way, a perfect example to practice mindful mind wandering, because you're intentional about how you're spending time away from the problem and then knowing exactly when to bring it back. This tool is extremely simple to add it to your lives and make it part of your daily routine. If you're someone who's constantly struggling with coming up with ideas or solutions to a problem, consider taking a quick 10 to 15 minute break. Engage your time and engage your focus in activities that you really enjoy. Maybe read a book or do some journaling, or even a quick meditation session can be immensely helpful. Start engaging in mind wandering, and instead of looking at it as a negative for the time that it is taking away from your main task, use it as a tool that can help you increase your creativity. Don't look at it as the time that you have not been working or procrastinating, and that is the reason why you're not able to come up with ideas or solutions. Rather, allow yourself to take scheduled breaks and be intentional about how you're using your time during the breaks, and spend time in activities that you really enjoy. Maybe play music or play video games, or even use that time to call a friend to catch up. The key here is to be intentional and mindful about how you're using your time and knowing exactly when to bring your focus back to the problem at hand. This period of mindful mind wandering can be extremely useful in fueling your creativity. So today we looked at an important tool of mindful mind wandering that can help you in your creative process. Distractions are always looked at it from a negative perspective, but in this case, use your distractions intentionally and mindfully. Allow yourself to engage in activities that you really enjoy, and give yourself some time and space to think and come up with solutions to your problem and see your creativity grow. If this is not a new concept for you and you're already practicing mindful mind wandering, let me know in the comments about your experience and how it has benefited your creative process. Thanks again for watching and being with me in this journey. My name is Faizan Kazani, and until next time, live your life with creativity.